Here and now today, is Toronto a healthy city from an urban standpoint, urban development standpoint?
Well, um, that's a really challenging question.
According to the most recent CBRE statistics, 18% of office space in the city's core was vacant during the first quarter of the year, part of a continuing trend of gradually increasing vacancy rates over the past 2 years. Pre-pandemic, CBRE had the number closer to 2%. Karen Chappell is the director of the School of Cities with the University of Toronto. She says she saw this coming as commercial office leases continue to expire while tenant demand is down. She explains office leases typically run 10 to 15 years, and about 10% of existing leases expire every year. And now we're starting to see those cumulative effects.
You're gradually seeing people finalizing their decision about remote work and about how much hybrid work they're going to allow. And reducing their footprint. But it's a very gradual process.
When we think of the who is occupying office space in downtown Toronto, I think we often think of financial services. That being said, the city's economy as a whole is fairly diversified. We're not like, say, Detroit, where if auto leaves, then the city really feels it, or Calgary, where if oil is down, then the city really feels it. Are we still economically diverse enough?
I think Toronto had sort of slipped away from its diversity a bit, and that's why it was particularly vulnerable to the pandemic and the rise of hybrid and remote work, because of its disproportionate share of workers in the financial sector and the real estate sector and the tech sector. So, these are all sexy sectors. Everybody wants to have them, but it turns out they make you a little bit less resilient. So I think we're seeing a bit of a balancing out of the economy.
Now, we don't, Toronto was obviously planned and designed at a very different time than, say, Mississauga, Vaughan. If you go to some of these other downtowns, they're very well laid out. There's lots of space. The roads can, by and large, handle the traffic. There's transit. They feel clean and safe. The industrial or the commercial parks in some of these other municipalities are green, laid out well, places with lots of free parking. Is Toronto finding itself increasingly having to compete with a little bit of a grass is greener sentiment among businesses who are looking to choose where to do business?
Well, there's a debate about that. There's a consensus in the real estate market that there's a bit of a flight to quality.
She says there are still a lot of commercial tenants who value being downtown, and that the flight to quality might not be working against Toronto's downtown after all.